We're in a time period where even people with a college degree can't even get a job at McDonald's, let alone any corporation.
I graduated from college May of 2024, so a little over 2 years ago, with a bachelor's degree in data science, and I'm about to go walk in to do a job interview for retail. Feels awesome.
16,000 US jobs are being lost each month because of AI. These companies stopped hiring people but kept their applications online just to collect data to see how interested people were in still applying for these jobs.
The job market is a dumpster fire in 2026. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at just how bad this has gotten and why so many people feel abandoned by the modern job market. As always, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post new videos like this every week. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into it.
What happens when an entire generation of people cannot enter a job market because entry-level jobs have collapsed? People don't understand that entry-level jobs provide so much more than just like a initial income. They also give young workers the chance to learn by doing. The implicit bargain is very much breaking down because of AI, and it's also reshaping the idea of what entry-level even means.
The whole point of an entry-level job is to enter the job market. There have been so many stories of entry-level jobs online requiring years of experience, which makes no sense. It's like a catch-22. This job is entry-level. This is the level that I'm supposed to get the experience at so that I can eventually one day either apply for a new job or move up within the company. That's how it's always worked. For some reason in 2026, that's not the case anymore.
The unemployment rate for college graduates is very high. Entry-level job postings is very low, especially in industries like tech and marketing and finance. Precisely those white-collar fields where Gen Z graduates expected to build their careers. Like, that's kind of what they went to college for. And, we're seeing how companies are discovering and like, oh, AI can handle these tasks that maybe they traditionally assigned to junior employees.
It's not even that Gen Z went to school in hopes that they would find a job in those markets. Gen Z went to school for those things because they were told by everybody in the industry, this is the future. This is where you need to get your degree in because this is where the money is. This is where you're going to make money. And AI has completely disrupted that. Nobody accounted for AI when these kids were going to school to get these degrees, and now AI is completely replacing the need for these people in the first place. And that's nothing short of betrayal. You were essentially lied to. You now have a useless degree that they're not hiring in because AI is taking those jobs.
And of course, this creates a potential paradox that's only going to get worse. Employers still want experienced mid-level candidates, but those candidates eventually have to come from somewhere. So if those entry points disappear, so does the pipeline of future talent. We're essentially pulling up the ladder behind us. And the consequences extend beyond like the individual. Young people locked out of career track jobs are losing income, yes, but they're also losing the skills that come with working alongside experienced colleagues. How do you learn some of the soft skills like navigating office politics, handling difficult conversations from a YouTube tutorial? I mean, so much of this is very much learned by doing. And so then what happens when young people don't have access to that?
They don't teach you how to navigate relationships in an office at the school, how to deal with the coworker that is impossible to deal with or that pisses you off. These are very nuanced situations that you only learn by doing on the job, like she said. I've been in a situation where I've worked with some people that I didn't really like or didn't necessarily get along with, and despite not getting along with the person, how to get a job done. And that is crucial experience that you can only find on the job. No amount of schooling is going to teach you that.
You're starting to see a response in young people, pivoting towards entrepreneurship, freelancing, credential stacking. But that might not translate in the same way as, other types of entry-level jobs. And also not everyone has the resources or risk tolerance to do that. And so a labor market that only rewards those who can self-fund their own training or go off on their own or have the, backing to do that will just continue to deepen those inequalities.
And that's a lot of what we're seeing right now. People glamorizing being an entrepreneur. And the reality is it takes a lot mentally. There's a lot of upfront cost that comes with starting your own business and a lot of risk tolerance that you have to be able to take on in order to be successful. As a person that runs his own business, sometimes you're not profitable for months, years. And that can be very hard when you have no money saved and you still need to live, especially in 2026 with the high cost of everything. Housing, food, leisure activities, vacation, car insurance, all these things are skyrocketing in 2026. And that essentially means less risk tolerance for people that want to go out and start their own thing, which means not everybody will be able to start their own business. Taking a look at the comments, and boomers aren't retiring. This is a huge issue. Boomers are holding their positions for longer, which means there's less and less opportunity for people to come in and replace them. And the reason that boomers are holding their position is because of how expensive everything has gotten. They feel less comfortable and less secure in the money that they've saved, if they've saved anything, because of the high cost of living. And it doesn't seem like it's getting better anytime soon. So these boomers are holding their position for much longer because they want to make sure that they have enough money for retirement, which they're pushing off by a couple of years. And unfortunately, that means less job opportunity for the younger generation coming in, the college graduates. No, because why do internships require experience now? That is the entire point of an internship. Why do I need experience? That's what I'm here for. Internships usually are unpaid. You'd be lucky to get a paid one. Are to gain experience so that after this, I can get a job either at this company or a company that does a similar thing. I don't have the experience. I'm on the internship because I just graduated and I need to get experience to get a job. That's the catch-22 of the situation. And a lot of people are starting to realize this is kind of a scam. It's kind of set up against them. Like, it's just another barrier to entry, which at this point in 2026, we don't need any more of those. Another person, you also have an entire generation of mid-career professionals still stuck in entry-level roles a decade into their career because there is no upward mobility. This again ties back to boomers not retiring and holding their position for so long. It's an upward ladder, and if the person at the top isn't getting off the ladder, there's nowhere else for the other people in the middle or the bottom of the ladder to go but to remain in their position or hop off to another ladder entirely. And this causes a huge problem.
The job market's so trash because nobody ain't quitting their job, gang. You crazy as hell. Like, they know that their job is up for grabs. What make you think they finna quit that hoe? They may complain about the job. They may not be getting paid enough to goddamn sustain the living, but what make you think they finna quit their job, gang? They finna stay because they know they quit their job today. Somebody else getting that motherfucking position the next day. I'm not even finna put you on my shit.
That's a good point. Getting paid not enough is better than not getting paid at all. I mean, if you had the option between not getting paid enough and just not having any money in general, you're probably going to take not getting paid enough any day. And a lot of people are starting to realize, yeah, if I leave this job, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get another job. And they're probably going to fill this position fairly quickly because of how fierce the competition is. A lot of people are scared to leave their jobs and move to a different job because there's no guarantee that they will get that other job. That's why you hear a lot of people say, make sure you have another job before you quit your job. And that has never been more true than in 2026. Because if you don't have something else lined up prior to leaving your job, you can expect to be unemployed for 6 months at a minimum. From what we're seeing online, being unemployed for 6 months to a year is the minimum and is not unheard of. It's becoming more common. And that's scary considering most people don't even have 3 months worth of an emergency fund saved up in the event that they do lose their job.
Another reason why the job market's so trash because these businesses slow. Everything, the prices keep increasing, shit keep getting high. So business getting slower and slower. Ain't nobody buying shit no more. Ain't nobody really going nowhere no more because a lot of people can't really afford to go nowhere. So at the end of the day, like, you got to understand it from the business side too. Like, that shit, hell, they probably need you. They probably need your experience, your expertise. But goddamn, they can't afford the expertise.
Everybody's struggling in this economy. It's not just the normal everyday person. A lot of businesses are also struggling, specifically small businesses. So if you go to a restaurant or a bar, people aren't spending money like they used to. If there's no money coming into that business, they have less money to pay employees, which means they have less employees or less hours to give employees, which means less job opportunities, which means less money for people, so they're not going out. And you see how all of this is cyclical and it all ties in together. If there's no money from the consumer going to the business, and there's no money from the business going to the worker. And that just keeps going round and round. And it's getting pretty bad in 2026. And most servers in the US get paid on tips. If you don't have people coming in, you're not making much money. Sad, but it's true. Oh yeah, in this market, in this economy, you cannot play around with these jobs. It's hard to get another job right now, so stay at your current job and work through whatever hardship you've got, because if you can't find a job, there are plenty of people who've been out of work for almost a year and still can't find one.
I really don't want to give the James Charles situation any more attention than it's already getting, but I would love to give the job market and where it genuinely is at some attention, because obviously it seems like people are not understanding.
Quick context, the James Charles situation, it basically refers to an influencer called James Charles who went off on one of his fans for asking for financial support because she was recently laid off from Spirit Airlines, basically telling her to go get another job and that she was a bum and all this other stuff.
I just got a DM on here from a girl that said, "Good morning, James. I know you'll probably never see this, but if you could just take 1 minute to read it, would really mean a lot to me. I'm really struggling right now because Spirit Airlines just filed for bankruptcy and I have lost my job. Here's a GoFundMe link. Any donations help. I'm sure they do, sweetheart. I'm sure they do. You know what else would help you? Getting another job. Yeah, try that. Because in the time that it took you to copy and paste the same message to myself, who you don't follow, by the way, and probably 100 other influencers and celebrities, you could have applied for 100 other jobs, but you didn't because you're a lazy piece of shit and you're entitled. And you think that influencers and celebrities should fund your life for you. Why would I ever help you? You're not a fan. You don't even follow me. You've never supported me. This is your first time DMing. And you think that I'm going to send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God. Welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day.
Not understanding how tone deaf that came off, because getting a job in 2026 is no easy feat.
I graduated from college a year ago with a bachelor's degree. I was summa cum laude. I had multiple internships. I got my degree in accounting, and I was told countless times throughout getting my degree that this was the best field to be in because it was so high demand that I would have no problem getting a job once I was out of college.
Summa cum laude is the highest honor any college graduate can achieve. It is literally graduating the top of your class in a field that's highly lucrative and pays really well historically.
And with all of that, after 4 years of getting a degree, after multiple internships, mentorships, etc., it took me 9 months to find a job, and probably, and I'm not even trying to exaggerate, 500 rejection emails.
So we have a college graduate with a highly sought after degree that graduated top of her class, and it took her 9 months to get a job. 9 months. Not everybody can graduate top of their class. Not everybody's going to have a degree that's that highly sought after. And it still took her 9 months to find a job. Cooked. What is everybody else supposed to do?
Over the course of 9 months, I literally religiously sat at my computer and applied for jobs. I was also applying for jobs that I was overly qualified for. I was applying for jobs where I was making less than I should have by far, but I was willing to take it for the work experience or for at least a salary.
That's when that desperation creeps in. A lot of people are like, yo, I just need to pay the bills at the end of the day. Rent's due, the fridge is empty, my car insurance is due, I need gas in the tank. I'm going to take whatever's paying at this point. And I don't think anybody could blame her for that.
First part is, it wasn't just me. It was all of my friends that also had college degrees. Most also had work experience. We all struggled for so long. I was actually one of the first people to get a job in my degree, and that was 9 months after graduating. I still have friends that graduated the same time I did that still do not have a job in the degree that they got. The summer after graduating, instead of getting into a job that was part of my degree, my friends and I worked at a water park because that was literally the only job we could find. We were literally cabana servers at a water park.
That used to be a high schooler's job. That used to be a job for people that are still in school, whether it's high school or college. Those jobs were typically deemed lower value, highly accessible entry-level jobs that young people would gravitate towards because they were flexible and also because they didn't really pay much. And as a college graduate with an accounting degree, how demoralizing is it that the only job you can get is at a water park? It's cooked. I couldn't imagine going to school for 4 years to then graduate, be unemployed for a year, and then have to work at a water park because that's all I can find. That's dystopian in my mind.
And I ended up becoming a substitute teacher because, again, that was one of the only jobs I could find. And while I'm in these jobs that don't pertain to my degree at all or anything I want to actually be doing, I have people telling me, well, if you have a huge gap of work experience in accounting, it's going to be even harder to find a job in accounting when the time comes. I'm like, what do you think I've been doing? I've been applying for literally 9 months. And then finally, one of the mentorship/internships that I did in college ended up calling me and offering me a job. And it's been the best thing I've ever done. It's remote. It's everything I've wanted to do. I'm learning so much. I'm finally able to apply my degree, but it did take me 9 months. And thankfully, I was in a position to where my parents could support me. But unfortunately, that's not the position that most people are in when they can't find jobs or they lose a job. So I just really wanted to shed some light on the actual position that our job market is in America today. It's not easy. Nothing about it is.
Yet another catch-22. You're penalized for being unemployed or not seeking out a job in your field. And the longer that you go without a job in that field, the less companies are inclined to hire you in that field. But you can't get your foot in the door in that field if you've been applying to 500 plus jobs, you're not hearing anything back. It's essentially out of your hands. You can't do anything about nobody hiring you. And people are going to penalize you for no one hiring you. What are you supposed to do? It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. And that's frustrating. That is so disheartening and honestly unmotivating. A lot of people will just give up. And I can't blame anybody that is in that position on just giving up and just giving up in that field entirely, because it just seems like it's not in the cards. Taking a look at the comments, I think I applied to 800 jobs before I got one. When I was a recruiter and before I found my job, I was 200 applications deep and I was losing hope. That person did 4 times the amount that I did for one job. I'd go insane. I would just stop. I'd stop well into the 400s. But a lot of people don't have that luxury. They have to keep going regardless. No matter how many applications deep, how many rejections, how many ghostings they get, you got to keep going because the bills got to get paid. You got to eat. Another person, also half of the job postings these days are not real. You have to reach out to the company itself. Indeed, LinkedIn, etc. are not real. Yeah, these job posting websites have been under fire recently for posting a ton of ghost or fake jobs where the job is essentially not even available. They're doing one of two things. They're keeping the listing open to make it look like their company's growing to help their stock number, or they're keeping that job open to harvest your data to sell to other companies. These ghost jobs are becoming a lot more common. This person, I have a master's degree and TJ Maxx ghosted my application. A master's degree and getting rejected from retail? Yikes. I graduated 2 years ago and 400 job applications later, still nothing. It's a joke.
I feel bad for my generation, bro. I absolutely feel bad for my generation. We're all in that age realm of where we want to move out of our parents' house, but yet we're in a time period where even people with a college degree can't even get a job at McDonald's, let alone any corporation. It's so bad. And the old people, the boomers, they're jealous of us. That's why they're refusing to retire. It sucks, bro. Like, it really does, because why me, as someone who's in grad school, I'm struggling to find an actual good job and I'm stuck at a retail job. Like, it's hard as and like Indeed, LinkedIn, all that we were told would help us get a job, it's not working. It's not working at all. And I'm at the point now where if I see someone with a decent job and living in a decent home, at least $50,000 a year, I envy that.
It really is just a bad time to be looking for a job. It is a bad time to be graduating. There's a perfect storm of things that are happening. AI, boomers not retiring, the cost of living through the roof. Like I said, all these things are directly contributing to how bad the job market is.
I just graduated college and I am completely unemployed with no future job prospects. And I feel like this is such a weird time in my life because no one ever prepared me for it. For so long, like literally when I was in elementary school, people would just be like, oh my God, just get your degree. Get your degree and you're good. Get your degree and you're good, right? So I did that and I'm in debt and I got my degree. And now like I'm applying to every job like imaginable and it's not enough. It's not enough. Every single job wants like 5 years of experience and a master's degree. And it's like, it's gotten to the point where having your undergrad degree literally feels like you just graduated high school. Like no one wants to hire you. Everyone's like, okay, you need a lot of experience, you need this. And the economy is so bad right now that these like entry-level positions are being filled by people with master's degrees.
Not everybody is in the position to get a master's degree. A lot of people got their bachelor's degree and that's all the schooling that they're willing to do, or that's all the debt that they're willing to accumulate. Yet, if you have anything short of a master's degree, you're essentially treated like a high school graduate and you have no leg up. Your application is basically discarded before it hits the desk of any of the big decision makers. And even with a master's degree, we've seen people that have master's degrees that can't get a job.
And so it's like me and like literally most of my friends were completely unemployed. And like, thankfully we have places to go to, right? So we can go back home, right? A lot of people do not have that. A lot of people can't comfortably just go back and live with their parents. And so like, I'm grateful, but it's also extremely frustrating because it's like this lie that we're literally fed since we're kids that like, you just got to get your degree and everything is good is not even real. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, what if I don't want to get a graduate degree? Should I have literally just only finished high school and then just like started looking into like sales or like entrepreneurial positions? Like, why did I even get my undergrad degree if it's not going to benefit me? Why go in so much debt?
I didn't go to college. I went straight into the workforce and I was able to work from a regular retail position to a managerial position to then eventually be able to transition to a recruiter position solely because of the experience that I had working with people, managing people, and that's without a degree. That experience ended up being a lot more valuable to me than college probably would have. And a lot of college graduates are starting to realize they might have made the mistake and probably should have gone into the workforce to get some kind of experience to put on their resume. Taking a look at the first comment, the idea is you're supposed to be working or interning in the industry you are studying while in college. The degree just shows you are intelligent and committed. Without work experience, it doesn't mean anything. That's my point, is that the reason I was able to move up and to gain these different positions is because I was gaining work experience while earning an income. And a lot of people think if they go to school and they get the degree that they've done the work, that jobs are just going to come to them. Not really how it works anymore. You have to have the experience and the degree now. And honestly, some companies value the experience a lot more because then at least they know that you can hold a position, you can adapt to the position, and you can grow if necessary.
I graduated from college May of 2024, so a little over 2 years ago, with a bachelor's degree in data science. And despite having glowing reviews from my internship that I did post-grad from the director of the division that I worked in, I still do not have a full-time job in data science or anything in that general ballpark. And I'm about to go walk in to do a job interview for retail. Feels awesome.
Imagine spending 4 years at a university to get a degree that you thought was going to earn you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just for that industry to dry up and then have to apply for retail. You could have skipped the schooling and just gone to a retail job in general. At that point, you probably would have had more experience and would be more qualified for the interview that you're about to go on. But as it stands, he's less qualified for that retail job than a person that's been working a retail job since they graduated high school. And that's harsh, but that's the truth. Stanford recently did a study on how corporations are using AI systems to process resumes and how it's affecting the job market in a negative way. Highly recommend checking out the study. It should come as no surprise that companies are utilizing AI more and more these days. Screening resumes with AI was like one of the first applications that companies used AI for. So you're not even getting rejected by an actual person anymore. There is a literal AI system in play that is parsing your resume, and if it doesn't hit keywords or doesn't have key experiences on it, dashing it. Like, it's being completely blocked from even being considered. And that's becoming a huge issue for a lot of people that are looking for a job. They're not even getting rejected by a person. They're getting rejected by an algorithm, which leads me into my next topic, which is AI in the workforce.
16,000 US jobs are being lost each month because of AI. And I feel like this is obviously why the job market looks the way that it does right now. Because literally, these companies stopped hiring people but kept their applications online. And I feel like that was basically just to collect data to see how interested people were in still applying for these jobs, even though times are the way that they are currently. And like literally, these companies would rather just have AI because if they have AI workers, they don't have to pay those AI workers. They don't have to give those AI workers benefits. They don't have to give them any days off or any insurance or any help at all. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why they're doing away with human workers, honestly. Like, that's why so many jobs are being lost in the thousands each month. And the thing is, like, it's other jobs that are being lost that are not even dealing with AI at all. It's just like in mass, people are losing their jobs. And like, these jobs are not hiring. So the job market is just in a horrible place. And my question is, like, what are they expecting to happen once they replace all of their human workers with AI so they don't have to pay the AI?
Companies are trying to cut costs wherever they can. Corporate greed at the end of the day. We all know, we've all heard of this story before. They are trying to cut costs where they can. People are very expensive to employ. You have to pay for their salaries. In addition to benefits, you have to give them for the job. You don't have to pay AI for those benefits. AI doesn't need to go to the doctor. AI doesn't need to go to the dentist. AI doesn't need to see an optometrist. AI doesn't take sick days. And companies feel employees are going to end up costing them much more money, especially if they need to be replaced and retrained, where AI doesn't. And the end result is that these companies are going to continue to eliminate these jobs. People are going to continue to be out of work, and there's going to have to be some sort of universal basic income in play because nobody will be able to afford anything anymore. Whatever service these companies are providing, they won't have a customer base to sell it to because they don't have jobs to pay for it. If this trend continues, that's where we're headed. Take a look at the comments. This is not a coincidence. AI does not talk back nor give any pushback. Exactly. AI is a yes man. It's going to do whatever it's instructed to do. It doesn't get its feelings hurt. None of that. doesn't have emotions.
I just graduated like 2 weeks ago with a degree in computer science, and I've been specifically applying for kind of software engineering roles. So far I'd say I've applied to over 150 positions, and because like these companies are using AI to replace software engineering, like entry-level roles, it means that it's really hard and like really competitive to get these roles out of university. And I feel like this is just going to keep going forward as these AI companies develop better and better tools. Like, yeah.
How do you compete with a system that doesn't need to sleep, eat, or rest at all? You can't. You're a human being with human needs. At the end of the day, if AI can do the job and it can do it 24/7, 365, that's more valuable to some of these companies than a human doing it.
So how does that make you feel about your future job prospects?
I mean, obviously, like I started back in 2022. I had like sort of no idea that, I mean, none of us said that this AI bubble would kind of boom. So kind of software engineering, I say, is probably like the primary career path people would take, like coming out of a computer science degree. So now it feels like that career is sort of not safe at all. And in 20 years time, I feel like, even like 10 years time, I feel like it might not even exist at all. So now I've got to feel like
You've got to start
pivot
again.
and find something else, or yeah.
About 2 to 3 years ago, there was this boom online of people talking about computer science degrees and software engineering and how sought after those jobs are because of how lucrative they were. And just 3-4 short years later, that job is being completely eliminated by AI. And now these people that went to school for it, paid all this money in tuition in hopes that they'd be making a decent salary graduating, to end up with bupkis, nothing at the end of it, because AI is eliminating that job. And he's saying in 10 years that job might not exist. I think that's optimistic. I think it's closer to the 5 to 6, 7 year range that they're going to completely eliminate that with AI. I'm not in that industry, so I couldn't tell you, but the way that AI is advancing with how much money companies are pouring into it, I can only imagine it's going to get worse much quickly as it compounds.
I think there's been a 16% decline in entry-level jobs since ChatGPT came out, not all necessarily because of that. I think I saw 28% of graduate jobs sort of in the past year or so. So you're looking at something that is currently a real problem. And we have all these lovely predictions that say, you know, by 2030, there'll be 170 million new jobs and the loss of 92 million old jobs, and that people need to transition. So you've got two problems. Is that right? And all of these new jobs will be created. And then secondly, do you keep the education system up, and do you have a place for these people who are caught in that transition point, which is happening right now?
And I don't know what those job projection numbers are based off of, but we've been lied to before, especially in the US, about the job growth. So I would take that with a grain of salt. I would not necessarily believe any of those numbers with how job growth has been going in the US. And the last video that I actually want to show today is a little bit of a hope core video to give you guys some hope that maybe this isn't working out the way people think it is. Maybe companies were a little overzealous by trying to implement AI as fast as they could and trying to replace their human workforce.
So they laid off everyone to replace them with AI, or at least that's what they told us. And now everything's gone to shit. Let's talk about it. Mark my words, we are about to enter the great AI rebound. Reports are coming out, this is not very surprising, that a lot of the companies who said they were doing layoffs to replace people with AI actually never were replacing people with AI. They just did that to boost their stock price in the short term. Now they're like trying to use AI, everything's going to shit, especially in their customer service and customer facing roles, and they're like, wow, we should really rehire everyone. In this Forbes article, they were talking about how over half of the companies who did AI layoffs are going to end up rehiring these people by 2027.
I think this is a bit more nuanced though. Like, I think some jobs will be rebounded from, like customer service based jobs, where if a company switched to AI customer service, they're probably realizing that that's not working out well for them. And there have been some articles of companies having to rehire their customer based service roles because AI has done a completely shit job. Like this article posted on the Washington Times, customers know when content is really just AI slop and when they're talking to bots over the phone. Again, so customer service jobs or creative roles on social media where ads are being generated with AI instead of a actual human's creativity. A lot of companies are suffering from a higher volume of customers' dissatisfaction. Most people don't like AI. Most people don't like that AI is taking jobs. And when they see companies using this AI to directly take away jobs from people that would have benefited from it in the first place, they're becoming dissatisfied, outraged, and sometimes even quit using the service in total. Keith Spencer, a career expert at the employment search website FlexJobs, said layoffs over the past 3 years created an empathy empathy gap by canning workers who understood complex customer requests. AI can't understand the nuances of an individual customer situation for customer service. A human can, though, and humans are irreplaceable in that aspect. You can't train an algorithm to have empathy. So this does look like good news for some jobs in the job market, but it's clear something still needs to change because the job market is horrible in 2026. And that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your job hunting experience has been like in 2026. If you have a job, let me know if it feels threatened by AI. And if you don't have a job, let me know how hard it's been to find one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.